Good morning, everybody. I'm glad to see everybody is doing well based on some of the chats of good morning with exclamation points. Stephanie, Cole, and Lisa are here, and we just are going to open it up to Q&A this morning. In a few minutes, you should see our Google Meet on the screen, and then it should transition over to Canvas LMS for advanced learners this morning. As some housekeeping, as you have questions, please feel free and put them in the chat. And between Cole, Stephanie, and myself, we'll go ahead and start answering those questions for everybody. This session will be recorded for those people that may not have made it this morning or may come in late. So you will be able to find that recorded session in the announcements area inside of Canvas. Please remember that this course is completely self-paced, so the last day to complete any type of coursework is by August 15th. Let's open it up for questions, as you guys have had a few days to work inside the content, and some of you have already completed it, which is awesome. Congratulations. We hope to see you at another session throughout our summer, but we'll go ahead and open it up for Q&A. Great question. I created an issuer and a badge, but how do I edit or delete it? Give us a second to get our thoughts together to answer your question. Another question that we have here is my introduction YouTube did not work in announcements for this class. What am I doing wrong? And then another set of questions. Let's see what we have.
As far as the issuer and the badge, you should be able to go into your area in Badgr to work on any editing or deleting of that and any changes that you need as far as creating the issuer.
To answer one of these questions, it says, I tried to add one of my vocabulary sets from Quizlet as an external tool, but it would not locate my list. So I guess the question is, was it originally built inside Quizlet? Have you signed into Quizlet? And are you doing the external tool using the assignment feature or just straight out of underneath the plus button for module? And that would go to Nancy Harry. In concerns to iCivics as an external link. So an external URL is different than an external tool. So I need you to clarify for me, Miss Nancy Harry, if you don't mind.
Ms. Carpenter, as far as your badges, they give you just a very simplistic area for pre-made badges where you guys can create them, but text is usually hard to add in that area. You can go in to other apps and Google Slides and other things and create your own images and bring those in. Bitmoji is another one. I do know this fall we're going to bring extra things that you guys can do to add to your courses. We started out with some of the basic stuff for now to get everybody on board with Canvas as well as Google Classroom. But coming this fall, we're going to do some trainings with how to make some changes and adjustments to other things inside of Canvas. Badges will be one.
Yeah, we're currently using Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop and some other professional high quality apps to make our badges. Um, I'm going to research, like Stephanie said, and try to find some other alternatives that you can use because the rudimentary set of tools that Badgr has, you can't create necessarily images like what we've created to give you guys some really great looking badges. So I'm going to try to do some research and have some other options available for you soon. And as far as the YouTube, I know Miss Jackson was saying her introductory YouTube video didn't work. This is the announcement with the introduction video link here. You should just be able to click on that link and it should redirect you to YouTube as it's doing here. And this should be what you're getting here. It takes a second to do the redirection, but they should work. So if you're having an issue finding it, try that and let us know if something's not working for you, but it should be working.
Miss Taylor, the to-do list is really good for, it's kind of like a area, like when you're going to the grocery store and you have that list of things that you need to actually pick up. These are just things that you would need to do. So either way, going into the module or the to-do list would be good. We'll have to take a look at masquerading your account to see why your stuff is actually not showing up as completed. So one of us will reach out and actually email you when we have a chance to do that. Canvas Studio is a good add-on. However, it does cost extra to purchase. It is not a free app to utilize in Canvas.
These are some great questions, everybody. Really excited that you have really dove in.
Cami, as far as using it as an external tool, the way we have taught it in advanced, we are actually working with the creator of Cami from New Zealand, that he and his tech team are trying to look at the external tool as you see it inside of the advanced course. We were the first district who questioned why it didn't work, or we got an error by doing it that way. So currently, Ms. Ching, you can use it by going and selecting assignment and adding it as an external tool under the assignment area for now. It will work that way as an external tool, but we're hoping that the company will push out for you guys to be able to use it as a drop down for external tool, because you're actually having to do more steps when you're creating it as an assignment, then pushing it out. From what I can understand, he did agree to give us 6 months free. I do think he's already done that based on some of the teachers I've talked to, but learning how to actually create an assignment and push it out as an external tool underneath that drop down part, you will learn about that in intermediate, which would start next week.
There's some conversation happening about the URLs for teacher websites. Cole, can you give them an update on the teacher websites?
Yes. As many of you are aware, we transitioned to a new web host at the end of June. So the website has been revamped and is more heavily integrated with social media presence so that in the future we can post announcements, news, updates, whatever it may be, and we can hit Facebook, Twitter, um, and YouTube and do robocalls and all these great announcements all at once instead of having to do it 3 or 4 times over to reach the same audience. And as a part of that transition, it was decided a long time ago, earlier last school year, the individual teacher web pages were going away. That was relayed to your local school webmasters several times for that information to be shared with you. And I've already discovered that one school I know that did not happen. So those individual school webmasters were aware well in the past that that was going to happen. So if you have a bookmarked URL for your classroom teacher webpage and it's telling you it's no longer working because it doesn't exist anymore. If you haven't tried to visit it or to find it, or you've looked on the new website, your individual classroom teacher web pages are gone. They're not coming back. Coming up with, as we're transitioning to more of a remote learning aspect, which is obviously going to be heavily involved in the upcoming school year, you're going to transition to either Google Classroom or Canvas. That's going to be your new teacher website, basically. That's how you're going to interact with your students, is how you're going to teach your students. You can also invite the parents to participate. There are 2 different ways to do that, inside of Canvas and then inside of Google Classroom, to allow that communication with your parents or community members, outside stakeholders, whoever it may be. But individual teacher web pages are a thing of the past. Now it's just web pages for the district and for the schools, and then obviously anything that's housed at those levels, but not individual teacher web pages anymore.
Let me go ahead and address 2 questions dealing with locked assignments and creating a manually created course. This is your advanced course. And so some of you may have taken the beginner course that was last week or the week before. And we talked heavily on how to create a manually created course. So the purpose of all the assignments and modules that you are seeing inside of your advanced course and any of your courses that you take with the digital learning team, you will have that manually created course as your template course, as your sandbox course to create new things, change stuff, try new things as you're discovering how remote learning works for you and the content you're teaching. So for some of you that are a little confused at the moment because you're coming in straight out into advanced and may not have taken the beginner course a week or 2 ago, when you go onto your dashboard, and Cole, if you can share your screen, I'm just going to show them where that create new course button lies so they can see it. Okay, so if we go to the home page, which is our land, or where our card view is on the dashboard, in order to create a course, which for you is a manually created course, at the bottom right-hand side, you'll see a gray button saying start a new course. And the goal for this is to have a course set up in your content area so that you can play around with and experience what it looks like as a teacher. Currently, right now, you are a student inside our courses. So you're only seeing what we choose for you to see on the course layout. So if we went into the advanced course, so if you click into our advanced course, Cole.
It's catching up.
Yep, I figured.
And realize that that button does move around depending on the size and resolution of your screen and how large you have the text for the start a new course. So if you can't find it, just keep looking.
So here, this is the teacher view. And you see all those buttons on the left-hand side. So can you take your cursor, Cole, and just go from where it says home to settings, just running your cursor along those light blue buttons? So that's where, as a teacher, you will see more options. Currently, if we go to student view, the button on the far right, which again, for us, student view in the screen we're in right now is on the right. But if you make your screen smaller, those buttons will vanish and go to the very bottom. So if we click in student view, look what you see. You see 4 buttons. I'm only giving you the ability to see what you need to see as a student. Another question was locked assignments. So if you click on modules there, Cole, in the student view, inside modules, the way we have this course set up is that you have to click into each assignment, do what it asks, and hit the blue submit button in order to go to the next assignment or the next module. So you're not able to jump around to different modules and you're not able to skip anything. So in order for you to complete this course, you have to click on the video, submit assignment. In this one, it's a text entry asking for feedback. When you go to next and you go to the assignment for how to add people, you'll go ahead and do the same thing. You'll read the assignment, do what it asks, and then go from there.
Cole, can you go over to the Badgr area so they can see what we have as far as, it's been a couple of questions about an error for the issuer. It's probably going to shift us over to, you're in student mode, so.
Yeah, it's catching up.
Okay, I'm sorry. So go to the advanced course.
Okay, I'm in a different course right now, but I can go.
Okay, that's fine. Technically, you're going to have to sign in up at the top. Into Badgr, there should be a place to sign in. Leaderboard, or at the bottom where it says change issuer. There should be, you might be already signed in. Go up
I'm
to,
pretty sure it is, yeah.
mine look different than that.
So let me try a different course and see if it looks different. Okay, I think I would just, let me click the Badgr icon here.
Click on the actual link for the, click the actual link for the badge, and then it'll say view the criteria.
All right.
There's a link there.
So let me go
So
back
click
to
on, there you go, view criteria. No,
okay.
click PSRC Canvas Advanced. No.
All right, let me go back. Hold on.
Click on, go back to where you were on the badges.
All right, it's pulling up now. It's just taking a few seconds.
Down at the bottom, click on the link for that particular badge where it says PSRC Canvas. Click View Criteria. And you should be able to sign in at the top. At the top. See where it says sign in?
Yep. You remember it's a few seconds below. It's catching up.
View issuer. Okay, so go, it's much easier if up at the top, it should say issuers and view issuers. And then there should be 3 dots beside of it in the right-hand corner. You see those
Yeah.
3 dots?
Mm-hmm.
Click edit issuer. Okay. So guys, this is how we actually went in and made our issuer and created it. We called it Digital Teaching and Learning. And at that point, the website was still okay for me to pull the technology landing page. So that's what I actually did. With us transitioning to a new website company, there may be some issues going on with you actually selecting that, but give it a little bit and try the new website for your school and see if that works. I do know that when I click on that actual URL now, it doesn't take me anywhere, but it still works. As far as using it here for the website URL, which is our Digital Teaching and Learning old website. And then I put my email address in and a description and I saved it. That's technically all as far as directions. Those are the same directions I used when learning how to do Badgr. And I saved it and it worked. So if you can try it or you're having issues with it, if you will email us, and that way we can go in and masquerade and look on your side as the student, okay?
And the questions for HMH, with getting that set up as an external tool inside of Canvas, last I checked with Andrew Davis, he spoke with them, and there's an additional cost to do the HMH integration inside of Canvas. So I'm sure that's the holdup to decide if they're going to be able to make that happen or not. And I see Lisa answered that. Yeah.
Ms. Keisha, you should be okay to sign up for intermediate because you're already registered for this course. Intermediate is like a continuation of the beginner, where you do learn how to work on assignments and create assignments and actually your quizzes and things like that. So I would have suggested for anybody that had not had our training to do beginner as well as intermediate, even if you didn't do advanced.
If any of you that are in this course now that see that you would like to do other courses that were originally offered that you did not sign up for, because you are registered in this course, please email Stephanie Cole or myself inquiring about which course you would like to be added to. And I'll restate that again. Because you are already registered, we will be gladly to add you to any of the other courses. However, you need to email us with what you would like to take. Because right now there's over 1,000 people within the 6 courses we're teaching, and the registration is closed to outside people who missed the registration. So it's a bonus for you guys if you want to take more, which yay, you get more certificates, more badges, more CEU credits, but it makes you a wholesome teacher. We are more than happy to add you, but just go ahead and email the 3 of us.
Ms. Chapman, as far as your question about the badge for each domain taught or the course as a whole, it is totally up to the teacher whether you want to give a badge per module that you're teaching or theme that you're teaching, or the entire course. But it takes extra work, as you could tell, for creating it as each module versus just the course itself. the most important thing about the badge is you have to set it up as a requirement for them to at least view it. Okay. And on the staff evaluation, we did have some people, to maybe one or two, to mention the fact of needing more description or explanation as creating the badges. So I actually went back through that module, and I do not know how to make it or add more there, because if you follow the directions on the video as well as the links, that's exactly what I used to learn how to create your badges. So I gave you all that I had that I used to learn how to create those badges. So, but as far as, adding things, for, you can give your students a badge per module if you would like to. It's totally up to you. You would just do it at the end of each module.
So let me answer Miss Saylor. Depending upon what grade levels you are teaching, depends on what learning management system you will share with your students. The question was, Canvas and Google Classroom will sort of become our teacher websites, but no one will be able to access them until we give them a code. So Miss Saylor, as you go through, because I know Miss Saylor is in high school, she's going to be using Canvas. Canvas does have a pair observer where you can allow your parents to be able to see what's going on. And in Google Classroom, which is pre-K through second grade, Google Classroom has what's called Invite Guardian. Now, in the communication tool set or the communication tools course that's being offered in the next few weeks, if you've not signed up for that, we will go over Canvas apps and also how to use different tools for Google Classroom, etc. For the Google Classroom, that course has been taught this week and previously, but if we know we will be offering other professional development come the fall. So just be on the outlook for that. But in the meantime, you do have different things that you can invite your parents to in either one of those learning management systems. So Canvas is called Pair Observer, and in Google Classroom, it's Invite Guardian.
It's really wise to log into Badgr and create an issuer, because that, and for your badges, because that does keep up with a backpack as far as you actually claiming or having your badges, as well as just having a place to organize everything. My suggestion would be, it's not something that's required, but it is easy to go in and edit those things whenever it is created inside of Badgr.
So Ms. Parker, the only thing, it's individualized. So for my son, when I'm signed in as a pair observer to my son and the courses in which he has, I can only see his coursework. I can only see his assignments and how he's answered them. I can only see the videos. I can only see his commentary, his scores. So it's protective of the individual student. Okay, to answer Ms. Carpenter, it's where is the pair observer located in Canvas? When you're in your particular course and you go to people, you need to go to the three dots across from the particular student and user details. And then you have the button for pair observer. Now we are working with data managers to be able to do it per course so that it's easier for the teacher and the student. So just like Parent Portal, when they get an access ID, they'll also get what's called a pair with observer, which is for the parent. Cole, can you share your screen and I'll just give a visual of what that looks like for them because I'm sure me saying that was probably a little rushed. So if you go to the three dots on the right-hand side, whoop, you're in Badgr.
Well, I pulled up an article inside of Canvas, how to generate a pairing code for an observer as a student as well. And like you said, we're trying to work with data managers so that those can be generated automatically. But that tells them, again, instructions on how to do it.
Correct.
Here.
And in our communication tools course, we go through it step by step. But this is just so that if you want to find a particular student, you have the capability. So on the three dots right there on the right, it doesn't matter what student you pick. Go ahead on the three dots to the right. And when you click on user details,
There it is.
yep, there's user details. And when you click on there, it's going to open up. And on the right side, almost right where your cursor is, it says pair with observer, and it will give a code. Now understand we're working with data managers so that it can be done bulk for you, the teacher, but also sent out with the student for Parent Portal as well as Pair Observer for Canvas. So we hope that helps you out, at least on the visual side, to see it. Great advice, Ms. McCallum. Use your teacher email, not your personal email, and create badges. We can only advise you to use as much as you can with your @Robinson account. That seems to be a troubleshooting thing also when people are having issues with loading videos, and a lot of emailing that we've gotten is because you're using personal accounts. So to utilize your @Robinson or leveraging your @Robinson account will do wonders for you, as well as you're going to want your students to leverage their own student emails. So just keep in mind as you start going through the different courses that we have for the rest of the summer, keep in mind that there will always be more courses offered in the fall. So if you've missed something that is past, you will have the capability to take some things again or new to you in the fall to keep learning.
Yeah, Miss Parker, it is different pairing with observer versus the observer because where you're going is to people and adding the person and selecting their role as observer. And that is good to know as well. So when you do need to add your principal, because I do know for remote learning, as we begin to transition to the new school year, principals are going to be observers in those grades that they decide will be doing remote learning. So that is good to know as well. Look, really the difference between the two is the, the principal is actually inside. It's kinda like when you do a Google Doc and you actually have the capability of somebody viewing everything as the viewer versus pair with observer means it's limited to what that student actually, um, has access to, and the parent can't even see as much as what the student app can actually see. Um, so the principal would actually be able to see everything inside of your course. I hope that makes sense.
Are there any more questions for today's session?
Yes, that's correct, Trip. Observer role just technically means that they are just looking and can view everything. So technically, you would want your parents to be the pair with observer versus an observer role.
So before we finish out today, as always, you have an attendance form for today that I've just put inside the chat. If you don't see it in the chat, you could always go to announcements, and for the Q&A session for today, that link is there also. The Canvas tools that you're inquiring about is offered in the Communication Tools course. So feel free, if you want to register for that, please email us and we will go ahead and add you in.
That's technically the apps of Canvas, the student app, the teacher app, as well as the parent observer app. And yes, infantcat does offer Canvas. Do want to say this before we go? They do offer Canvas courses. As well. And you can gain information from that if you choose to. It is good to have our template though when you start working because you'll learn how eventually coming up how to take those things and edit them, edit your homepage and add some animative things, and we're going to learn how to do those things as well. So just wanted to add that in. Thank you guys for all of the compliments, all of the positive feedback. We have worked extremely hard on these courses to make sure that they will benefit you guys. If you do come up and are talking with beginning teachers or teachers just starting with the district, we are going to put a course together where this will be combined for them, so they can, have access to all this stuff, being hired later in the actual year. So no need for them to worry about that. I know some of you are probably mentors, as well as just trying to make sure that we covered everything. And we technically have not covered everything, but we're going to add some more things to courses as we move along and transition for this school year. But again, we are appreciative and very thankful for your positive feedback. And even some of the things that you've offered for suggestions as far as videos, we just want to make sure that, we reflect and change our style or to make things better for you guys.
So before we let you go, make sure you fill out the attendance form. Make sure that as you complete things throughout this course, that you complete the evaluation form in order for it to generate your certificate and get your badge. And don't forget to receive your CEU credit by turning in your certificate to program services. If in fact you have no more questions for the rest, you are more than welcome to exit, and we hope to hear from you soon. Miss Dial, the dates for July 21 to the 23, that is Google Drive and apps, as well as the communication tools. Intermediate, let me get on my screen for you. Intermediate is offered, we know, next week and also in August. And I'll put those dates up there right now for you.
Miss Elizabeth, you're going to email a copy of your certificate to Myra Warrocks in staff development to receive your credits.
The live stream PSRC forum today at 3 p.m. is an all hands meeting that's being offered for all employees, is my understanding, where there's going to be updates from administration to try to answer many questions that I'm sure many of us have about returning to work and how things are going to work in the fall. So all I can do is tell you to tune in at 3 o'clock with the rest of us, and we'll see what information they have to share with everybody. It is for employees only, and you have to have a PSRC account in order to be able to watch it. And every employee should receive the live stream invitation from me via email.
So based on the remaining courses that are being offered, we have different sessions. So we have Canvas Intermediate starting next week and one in August. We have Google Classroom is just finishing up. Google Drive and Apps, which is the last 2 weeks in July. Communication Tools is July 21st and also in August. Intermediate, we go ahead and do a July and August session. And then Canvas Beginner does again in July 28th. So if anyone has a want to take additional courses, just make sure to email me, Cole, and Stephanie, and we will go ahead and add you. Ms. Chapman, it's going to be anyone who has a PSRC email account that will be able to join the Q&A session at 3 p.m. And it will be very similar to how today went with the YouTube live stream. It will be a chat feature where you can ask your questions. Just make sure before you all leave that you go ahead and hit that attendance form to get credit for your participation today. If you need to review the video that is recorded today, it will be found in the announcements under the Q&A session. And we hope you have a great rest of the summer. Yes, Mr. Hunt, we will be on again at 11:30.
So just to clarify, the live stream today at 3 o'clock, doing a Google Meet live stream, we can have up to 100,000 people within our domain participating in the live stream. You'll notice I keep referring to it as a live stream. It's not a traditional Google meeting. There will be no microphone, no camera for everyone available. It's a listen and watch only. We're going to be using another technique to have a live Q&A with a Google slide presentation and the URL that you can visit. So every employee that received the invitation should be able to participate and watch. Have a good day.